Alright, I'm gonna create a simple static scenario and go over some of the mental model around like the coordinate system and how to think about things. So just create a new scenario. We'll put it in my user bundle. Example static 3. And so it's going to be a static scenario, which basically means the targets don't move. It's a normal clicking scenario, 3 targets. And so let's see, this is the definition of how the targets will be placed on the screen. So basically it only has a single profile. It's called a region, so it's going to place the targets randomly within a rectangle with in the middle 50% height and width of the screen, of the wall. The depth, I'll get to that later, but I'm going to press R here to preview what it looks like. So there's 3 targets. They're in the middle 50% of the wall. So 0, 0, x, y is the center. So that's negative x, positive y, negative y. So let's see. Let's up the number of targets to give you a better idea of what the rectangle looks like. So this is pretty much the region where things are being placed. So we can go back and say I want them to be in a circle whose diameter is 50% of the width of the wall. So that would look like this. We could say it's an ellipse, and so it's 30% of the height, 50% of the width, and it would look like that. We can say we want to move it a little bit over, like 10% to the left, maybe a little bit more. Alright, so that's offset. It's moving it up and down, moving it around on the wall, the region. Alright, and so now you can define 2 regions, and it's going to select them based on weighting, so 50%, 50%. So we'll say we'll make a smaller circle and we'll move it over to the left, and then region 2, let's make it a rectangle that's smaller as well, and let's move it off to the right a little bit and up. And so you can see these are very densely packed, but it will select from the 2. Let's make this one a little bigger. So basically you can change the weights around. You can add more regions. You can, let's see, let's make this circle a little bigger. You can like cut out the middle of the circle. Let's make the cutout bigger. So it's like cutting out the middle of the circle. Let's say you can cut out the middle of this rectangle. You can do things like that. So another thing you can do is, instead of using weighting, you can use region orders, explicit orders. So we're going to say it's going to alternate between region 0 and region 1. Just back and forth, it'll repeat. And so let's say we'll have 1 target. It'll start over here, so it's going between those 2 regions, back and forth. Let's see. It's unclear why the size of the target is changing. I think it's the depth. So depth is the concept. It's how far away from the wall towards you it is. Yeah. So it really shouldn't be defaulting to 30. But that was basically moving the targets towards you. So depth 0 is on the wall, and every increment greater depth brings it closer to you. Alright, so that's basically just how to define static scenarios. And so this concept of target placement, it works for most scenario types. So we'll say we'll have a linear scenario, so the target is going to move in a linear pattern. So it copied over that same region, so we need some speed. But so the target's going to move in straight lines until it hits the wall. And you can do things like say, I want it always moves towards the center. So if it starts on the left, it's going to be moving this way. If it starts over here, it's going to be moving that way. You can say, I always want it moving left when it spawns. Let's make it slower. So you can see it's always moving left. So that's basically the concept of target placement. So we have X, Y, so that's just on the wall, and depth moving towards you. So another interesting thing is that you can edit the room, and so on a box, X, Y is just a grid on this wall. So if you change the room to be a cylinder, so the wall is sort of curved now, but so X, Y is like wrapped along the perimeter of this cylinder. So something moving in a straight line on the wall would be going around you in a circle at a fixed distance. So you could take the same scenario. These circular ones don't look great with static, but let's say we want to make the wall so it's going to be 50% of the perimeter, no sides, and so you see the balls, this one went too low, are moving like around the perimeter of this cylinder. You see why that one is low. Let's move the offset, delete this profile. So now everybody's going left. Alright, so that's the basics of creating scenarios and the target placement.